Hi guys, so I'm coming to you today because I want to express a revelation that I received in reading a certain passage from this certain book. So if you want to know what that revelation is, and you want to know what this passage is all about, then stay tuned. I'm reading this book called Man's Eternal Quest by Paramahansa, Yogananda. Okay, I can't pronounce it correctly, but I'm close. And again, the book is called Man's Eternal Quest. But it's on page 4, and the subtitle is called A Story About Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Okay? And it reads, in India, there's a popular story about Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. They were boasting among themselves about their tremendous might. Suddenly, a little boy came up and said to Brahma, "What do you create?" "Everything," Brahma replied grandly. The boy asked the other two gods what their work was. "We preserve and destroy everything," they answered. The young visitor was holding in his hand a single piece of straw about the size of a toothpick. Placing it in front of Brahma, he asked, "Can you create a piece of straw like this?" After the prodigious effort, Brahma found to his astonishment that he could not. The lad then turned to Vishnu and asked him to save the straw, which was slowly starting to dissolve under the boy's steady gaze. Vishnu's efforts to hold it together were fruitless. Finally, the little stranger produced the piece of straw again and asked Shiva to destroy it. But try as Shiva would to annihilate it, the tiny straw remained intact. The little boy turned again to Brahma. "Did you create me?" he asked. Brahma thought and thought. He could not remember ever having created this amazing child. Suddenly, the boy vanished. The three gods, with a little g, awoke from their delusion and remembered that behind their power is a greater power. Okay guys, in reading this passage for myself from this awesome, amazing book, there are a few things that I took for myself, or gained revelation, or rather, that I really just wanted to share with you guys. The first thing is, man can always find a way to take credit for God's works. That can be from the simplest things. It could be your boyfriend, and all of a sudden he tells you, "Well, no, I'm not going to go out to get no Starburst." Or he could say, "No, I don't want you to get this job. You don't need this job." For what? What you going to get another job for? You know you need the money. You know that you're pregnant, craving for some Starburst, but you gotta get it. And you know, in some shape, form, or fashion, you need to go get that Starburst. God will open up a way for somebody to all of a sudden show up at your doorstep. Someone you know, someone you may not know. And next thing you know, they have a pack of Starburst in their purse. Or their child is eating, a pack of Starburst or some Starburst jelly beans. Or you've already applied to some jobs that you really did not see yourself really getting. And then, next thing you know, a couple of weeks later, you get this job. And then your boyfriend just so happens to lose his. So, did you really need that job? Yeah, you did. And then all of a sudden you'll have somebody come up to you and say, "Oh, well, I told you to get it anyway. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have never applied. Or if it wasn't for me, they would have never came over here to give you the Starburst." Pump the brakes. Okay? God knows my every thought. If he knows every hair on my head, he knows my every thought and my every need. I'm going to give this to God and you need to too. Okay? Now, the next thing that I gained revelation in with that passage is the boy vanished. I think that's the second or the second sentence to the last, the sentence right before the last one. The boy just instantly vanished. Sometimes you will be the only one to see God's works or blessings in that moment of your life. You'll be the only one to see. And in my heart, I believe it's because God needed to show you something or give you something to have more faith in Him, to show you exactly what He can do. Nobody else needs to see what you need to see. Everybody has their own set of eyes. And with their own set of eyes, you see things differently from the person that's on the right of you and the person that's on the left of you. With that being said, if God made your eyes particularly for you, He made your eyes particularly for things that He wants you to only see. And if that's the case, that's what that blessing was for. You knew that your friend needed $500 or her car was getting taken away. Her way to work, her way to drop her kids off to school, to pay them bills. And all of a sudden you're standing there and you're just talking to her about just nonchalant things that are not important. And then someone walks up to her and says, you know what? God wanted me to bless you with this. You was there to see that blessing. Because even though you were her friend, were you totally in foolproof belief that God will bless her? Or did you tell her to just work some overtime? So remember, sometimes you will be the only one to see what God's blessing or works for that moment and for a purpose in your life. Okay, so the next one is, there is no one bigger than God. Around you, God is everywhere. He has created everything upon this earth for us as humans to be dominant over. God gives us these things to create within the creation of this earth. Okay? So there's no one bigger than God. Even atheists, people who do not believe in God, or people who do not believe in only one God, they have some form of God within their lives. So there's no way to get around it. There's no way to get around the creation. There's no way to get around the fact that there is a God that created all things upon this earth.